be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Hello, listener. You are welcome to today's special edition of The Big Issue. Today, we are focusing on the off-season elections in Imo State, in Bayelsa, and in Kogi State. With me is I'm Salat Ezugu. With me is the anchor. With me is Sunday Isua, our in-house analyst. Sunday, you are welcome.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. Sunday, yeah. Today is a special day in three states. You have Imo, you have Bayelsa, and you have Kogi. In two states, three regions of Nigeria are having off-season elections today, and two incumbents are seeking to return power, and one departing governor is trying to install, his successor. So far, how do you see the election from what you've had so far? How do you see the election going in terms of the things that respect, an election of this kind?
The voting is ongoing, and from the report that we have had, like in Kogi State, for example, in a polling unit 004, a civil society organization have discovered that INEC result sheet has already been filled without even before the commencement of voting. Yes, they've already filled that result sheet, and so you can see how desperate politicians are. And so for even politicians to have access to INEC sensitive material before the time of election, then you know that this issue of sensitivity is no longer there. Is INEC independent? Is INEC will allow its materials to get to the hands of people that it should not get into their hands before voting starts? So these are the issues. It seems the commission is not learning from their past experiences. And since we don't have electoral offenses commission on ground, the commission should make sure they investigate this and make sure that those who perpetrate this are punished. Because if they are not punished, it will keep reoccurring. Then we have also seen in Bayelsa State where the materials were hijacked in a boat. Some said that the boat capsized. Some said that no, the materials were hijacked and all that. So in Imo State, with the insecurity there, we don't really know. People are complaining that electoral officers were changed at the last hours, and so you could see the desperation of politicians. Changing electoral officers in the wee hour, I don't think it could be a strategy to make the process go smoothly. But it could also be a strategy for some people to have their way. But all that we are saying is that the security agencies must be up and doing. Now in Kogi State, it's not the security agencies that dictate this fraud. Is a civil society organization, and this civil society organization is not paid by the government. They are sponsored by individuals. So you can see, once it is election period, everybody's hands must be on the deck. But the political actors or the state actors must do what is right.
Okay, you have put these things out there, but when you look at the security deployment across the army, the police, the DSS, the FRSC, the civil defense, they all come out with huge numbers of their men deployed to the field, and they are promising everybody that this election will be incident free, that everybody can go and vote. But we're still seeing this kind of manipulation going on, and it's happening right under their nose, and they're not finding it. So, is it the number of Is it a question of the number of people deployed, or is it a question of the kind of mindset they have for the job?
It's not the number of the people deployed. Now, the questions we need to be asking is that whenever this deployment is made, are they being deployed to the polling unit, or they are deployed to protect some political actors? Because I remember the last governorship election in Kogi State, I went there to cover the election. And I know what happened. Even security agents, we are helping some officials to manipulate election result. You know, we have seen situation whereby helicopter, will be shooting on the air to disperse
People from voting.
legible voters. So all these things, and if you talk about it, nobody will seem to care. It's like you are doing your job, other people are not doing their job. So the number of security deployment is not the issue. They are not deployed for the purpose they should be deployed for. We don't need this large number of security deployment if they are not going into the polling unit to protect the voters and protect the voters.
And also protect the INEC officials who are moving, just not just protect them, but to monitor to see that those officials are not compromising on their mandate.
Yes.
Because it do not, how do you expect that an INEC authentic sheet has been smuggled out from the storage and filled elsewhere and brought? Those things, they were not done by spirits. They were done by people known by other people, and they couldn't have done it in isolation. There's some kind of collusion. So I am also very, very happy with INEC that they came out quickly to acknowledge it and to say they are investigating. It's not like in the last presidential election where for 24 hours to tell about there was a glitch and nobody knew, everybody was confused. Now they came out with effective communication. We know about this thing, we're investigating. So I am just hoping that this is not the last we hear about it, that we are going to hear later who has been caught, because those materials are under the custody of some INEC officials.
Yes.
So who official was there? At what point did he move from? It's not difficult to find out who was manning those areas, unless the compromise go all the way to the top, and that's why you have a problem.
Yeah.
So that so far so good. Did we? If you look at the three, elections, we also have an issue of some agents, security agents, intercepting some unbranded security vehicles, in Kogi State, and we also mentioned about Imo. I read the story yesterday that those who did not go for training, INEC training, were being brought in from schools to come and handle the election. Now the issue is, those people, do they know what to do with this technology of previous RF? If they came in at the last minute, were they trained? Because those who went for training are complaining that they who went for training were not being, deployed, but new people they don't know are being deployed. So are you not seeing that this kind of change could, apart from having the ominous dimension of implanting your people in there, that you will not be able to manage the electoral process on the day? How do you think it can play on the voters who are going to work on those?
The problem with politicians is that they think that they are wiser than any other person, and so even the electoral commission used to play into the hands of this politician. There is no way that somebody who you have trained to handle your election as an ad hoc staff, then at the end of the day, before the election, you drop these people and take people who don't know anything about the process or who are not trained. Even if they know, they were not trained for that purpose. And so you expect that there will be challenges in that particular distance. And politicians, once they know that that area is not their own, so all they need to do is to take in officials that cannot manage the process very well, so that there will be lapses. They will mess up the process.
The opponent has a stronghold.
Yes. So the psychology of these politicians, they think that, well, it's not just about voting.
No, they're not. They
create room for confusion and all
they
that.
can benefit from the confusion.
Exactly.
Now, that's coming back to INEC. INEC, from what happened in 2020 elections, this is the first election INEC is conducting, and it's like a litmus test on INEC to know whether they have learned from the past. It's like the integrity of INEC is on the out there. People are trying to see and that whether INEC has moved on from 2023 general election from on this outside. If you are hearing this kind of things happen, because this can happen with INEC condition. I'm not talking about the management. Of course, there are some bad eggs here and there, but it behoves on the management, if they are not part of the constituency, to find, to look inwards and find out bad eggs within the system and take them out of the system. So this election, INEC is also on the ballot, because Nigerians are trying to find out whether what happened in 2022 that made the election so controversial, whether INEC has moved on. Because they promised BVAS, they promised IRF, those things were supposed to encourage people to go to the ballot. But if you are hearing that the judges have failed, of course INEC is involved. You're hearing about change of polling, and you're hearing about even in places where INEC is starting very late. Most of them are started early. I'm happy about that. But there are also places where you don't understand why INEC officials go late to the office when this day is already known. So how do you see INEC, coming out from this election in good colors?
Well,
and for the future of Nigerians, just INEC.
These are just early reports we are receiving, and these are 3 states, and the 3 states, they have their peculiarities, issue of insecurity and all that. So even the INEC itself, they don't have their own police. So they rely on the Nigerian police force for protection. They rely on other security agencies from the Nigerian government for their protection. And so their work will have some kind of limitation. But then we will have to assess the entire voting process. When they finish voting, they will now know whether there is improvement from the last election on this off-season election. Because, well, a lot of civil society have raised concern, even issue of funding of INEC. Now, in the last budget of INEC, when they were preparing for the 2023 budget, they stated that they have captured the off-season governorship election in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa state in their budget. But the last supplementary budget that President Tinubu signed, INEC have allocation of around 18 billion on top. So, what are we talking about? Who, is ensuring that INEC get this kind of money? What are they actually doing with this money when they have not even accounted for the one that they used in the last election, when they promised us electronic transmission or electronic result? So what did they do with those gadgets? Did they even acquire those gadgets? What did they do? So we need an auditing of INEC, and you see money flying in here and there.
So you have said this, and other people also said it, but do you think that the government of Bola Tinubu, the APC government, is really interested in doing an audit of INEC when this government is a beneficiary of the short process that INEC, put forth for Nigeria?
You see, now, if somebody win an election, it is expected that you drop all partisanship and be a leader for everybody. And so in being a leader for everybody, you are expected to ensure that where there are lapses, you block those lapses. And if you do that,
even if you yourself benefited from those lapses,
yes,
or maybe,
you have to block them.
Or even if you yourself help to create those lapses so that you can benefit from it.
An individual cannot create that lapses. Those lapses are institutionalized. And so all you need to do is to give INEC the needed independence and ensure that anybody that go against the Electoral Act or the Constitution is punished. That is the only way you can bring sanity to the system. So what we expect now is that any INEC official or any politician or any stakeholder that goes against the Electoral Act in this off-season election, then we expect from now till next week to hear that some people are being arraigned. We don't need to wait for all kind of issues that may not help the system. But once they are punished, you see, we will have a way out.
Okay. Let's look at those the 3 states themselves. We'll round up with them. Bayelsa. Bayelsa, we have an ex-governor on the ballot. And since he joined that the ballot, it seems as if the violence tempo, the tempo of that election, that place has risen. Today, the governor, it's Nembe has been a flashpoint since. People have killed Nembe, and today the governor is saying that the Nembe, it's like that's where the silver comes from.
That's President Goodluck Jonathan's community.
Okay. Nembe, no, that's not okay. We're talking about Nembe.
Okay.
That's because the governor is.
They are not far. Nembe are not okay.
They are not far. It's a that in that area that PDP agents and voters are not being allowed to come and express themselves. That means some of that power beyond the state government's control of PDP is in charge of that area. I'm expecting that APC is strong in that area. Or they have some strong men in
that
area.
Nembe area
there was some killings of people.
It's a community where Oronto Douglas.
Okay, so
yes. That man who was
Jonathan's man.
Yes, to Jonathan. And so, well, you see
that's in with Siba in that ballot. Are you look at the two of them, Tiri and Siba? What do you think will come out of the election?
You know, the Niger Delta area is an area that has already been militarized. Okay. So even non-state actors, they have weapons.
They have armies.
Yeah. So an individual can rise up to think
claim a territory there.
Yes, and challenge
and chase everybody out there.
Yes. So we need to.
Politicians they need to try to win those kind of thing goals, those who have armies to the side, so they can control those pockets of space.
Exactly. But then, what
do you expect is police and army and all who are promising all that nobody can be harassed?
And exactly. So that's why we need to call on the army. We need to call. The election. Army have no business there. They should
they say they'll help the police to do its job.
Yes, let them stay in the territorial boundaries. And since this is a civil issue, they should allow the police, the DSS, and other paramilitary to handle the process. Because once civilians begin to see military officers with uniform at polling unit, it scares them from even voting. But if they see civil defense, if they see the police, if they see immigration, if they see Federal Road Safety Corps, yes, they still know that, okay, these are paramilitary people that we can deal with. So I think
that is in a place where there's peaceful voting. Yeah. When you have dogs armed to the teeth to AK-47 and you have a civil defense, piracy, road safety, and who are not armed with small. Do you think that this kind of deployment can stand the firepower of those armies, like people like Asari and Kogi who have their own armies? Do you think I can reply them?
Remember that even those people creating the armies, their main aim is to win election, and so they won't go about destroying. All right,
disrupting the election.
They
can disrupt it in a place where they don't want.
In a situation where the Electoral Commission is not up to the task, and information, are escaping to people who are losing. Before you know it, they may cause mayhem.
Okay, let's go to Kogi State. So round of Kogi State, we know that Bello wants to install a sensor. And you know the geopolitics of Kogi State. It is the US and Kogi Central. And you know that Bello became governor by some kind of divine accident. Okay? When the one who was in the election, Prince Audu, died. And in living, he also managed to get somebody from his area as a successor, who was supposed to be a relative of one kind. That's generated a lot of tension in the state. But you see people from other sides, like Dino Malaya coming from the Kogi West, West. And then you also have someone, a Gala person from the Kogi East.
Yes.
So, looking at, so Kogi is actually a very interesting scenario. Do you think that the governor can pull off getting somebody
Well,
from that is minority area to succeed in.
you see, because of the activities of Governor Yaya Bello, I think this election have been ethnicized. Yes, because some people feel that okay, after Governor Yaya Bello, power should either
rotate.
move to Kogi
Kogi
West.
West
or Kogi East. All right. Now PDP gave their ticket to Kogi West. That's Dino Melai.
Yes.
Then
Strategically.
APC now gave their ticket to Kogi Central, where the incumbent governor is, and you know it raised some kind of agitation, and even people within the APC are agitating. Even the governorship candidate of SDP, he is from the APC, and so when they contested the primaries, Ajaka himself, Ajaka, and the late Abubakar Audu's son,
Yes.
and Smart Ademi, yes, and another top official, they came to Abuja and they addressed us, and they said that most of them, almost all of them, were in their various local governments, but that the primary election for the APC was not done. That all they did was to write names, and they even show us pictures of their members who were APC members who were raising their cards without any official there to conduct the primary selection. So that made the SDP candidate now to defect to the APC and to the SDP and got a governorship ticket. Now people within the APC are now supporting him. Then people in Kogi West are also supporting Dino Melai because they feel that power should come to them.
Yes.
Then people in the North Central, they say, oh, if we can be able to retain power, why not? Okay.
The Ghana angle, the Kogi is too.
Yes, the Kogi is, they are saying that, okay, even if we are in APC, even if we are in PDP, we are going to vote for our own because we have the majority. So you can see why people are working hard just to alter these permutations. While you want to have the larger number, some people want to win through violence.
Yes.
Okay, so politicians are dividing means to see how they can win the election. But then, if it is to go by population, since the election has been ethnicized, then you should know where this election should go on. But as it is now, we have already hearing reports of ballot papers being written and all that, result sheet being filled, you know, and all that. So let's see how
it comes out.
Yeah, and INEC need to come clean on this.
It's okay. I think done a little of justice to the election so far. We'll remain watchful as things develop, and it's our hope in this studio that the players in this game maintain the decorum of election, allow people to vote freely and for their choice, and that the elected officers will do the needful and not be partial to any of the parties, so that at the end of the day the people's will prevail in this election. There has been a wonderful time with Sonny, this special edition of the big issue, focusing on Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo State off-season governorship elections. Stay tuned with us. We'll have a short break, but then in an hour or two, we'll come back to continue the updates on these off-season elections. I am Silas Ezugu, and this is Leadership Podcast today. Remain tuned. You're welcome.
You just arrived now, right?
Just arrived now. I'm trying to arrange our Kobeko and other things in position before I can now introduce the public where we are here. And that's how they vote.
What is our police unit again?
Yeah, Education Service Department 1007. Na GRA.
Where
Municipal.
Okay, so you need to vote in Ghana. They ready? Ready. My number of registered voters here.
Number of registered voters is 740 expected voters.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Here, Adult Education Center.
Adult Education Center. GRA or where?
This is Idanuwa Ward, Code 11 polling unit in Adavi local government area of Kogi State. Voting has started as accreditation and voting goes simultaneously. Behind me are voters who are well coordinated with security presence to monitor things that are happening here. I have a voter here who has already casted his vote. Can you please tell us what has happened here so far?
Well, good morning, viewers. I'm Mustafa is my name, one of the voters from the polling unit. The INEC arrived at the appropriate time. They arrived to it. All cubicle and other materials are set up before 8 o'clock. People line up on the queue and voting commenced peacefully. The security agents were intact. There's no problem. The election is going on smooth and well coordinated.
Are you satisfied with the process
Yes,
of accreditation and voting?
Yes, I'm satisfied. The INEC has done a good job. The beavers, everything they bring is working. So there's no problem. Accreditation is going on smoothly.
It is expected that the situation will be the same in other polling units and wards across the Central Senatorial District. Ayobami Omole Iyage reporting for Leadership Television. This is Agasa Ahachi Okeniba Ward, polling unit 11. Voters are also here, well coordinated, and accreditation and voting is going on simultaneously. I have a voter here with me who is ready to talk to us. Can you please tell us your name and what you have experienced here so far?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Honorable Dr. Bello, and here to go to this polling unit, incidentally, the same polling unit with His Excellency Dr. Bello. And as you can see, everywhere is peaceful, everything is organized, and everybody is voting. The accreditation started at exactly 8:30. That was the right time that it was supposed to start. And the presiding or polling officers were here on time, and all the materials were here, arrived on time. And as you can see, everywhere is peaceful. Everybody is lined up, and voting has started, and everything is peaceful.
How can you describe the security situation in this polling unit and the local government entirely?
Oh, it's top notch. There are security all around. I think we believe we have the presence of the police, we have the presence of civil defense and DSS, the local vigilantes, and so far so good. No hitch in terms of security. Everything is peaceful and we are good to go.
Thank you very much, Honorable Usman Bello. Any moment from now, we shall be having His Excellency the Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yaya Bello, to come and cast his vote, and you will still be updated about happenings around Kogi Central. Ayobami Omole Iyage reporting for Leadership Television. This is the Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yaya Bello, who is arriving the venue, his polling units, in company of his wives, to cast their vote.
Number one. Where's the line? This line. This line. This line. Yeah, national.
Alhaji Yaya Bello is already joining the line.
This is the line.
He's already joining the queue with his wife.
This is the line. This is for
No, wait. Excuse me. Close in.
No. Yes, here, then woman, the other one.
Okay. Yeah, this is in Banwari Town Hall 1, polling unit in Opokuma North, in Kolokumo Opokuma local government area of Bayelsa State. Voting accreditation and voting have started, and the electorates have filed out to exercise their franchise. And you can see everywhere is peaceful. The electoral officers and the ad hoc staff, they are trying to coordinate them so that the voting can continue. The people have turned out to vote, and we'll still update you as the voting continues.
The big issue.
Leadership TV for God and country.